Morning. And welcome. Welcome to this place where, challenged by our liberating faith, we discover deeper spiritual meaning, nurture loving community, and cultivate courageous connections. And we also partner in the work of justice. Welcome to this place where we gather time and again in the midst of a beautiful and a broken world to practice what it means to be human in all of our imperfections and in all of the ways that we are growing and learning and becoming. I'm Reverend Amanda, and what a joy it is to be together once again. Now, today I'm up here cosplaying as the lay service leader because we have a guest with us this morning, Reverend Jake Morrill. He's with us. And this comes after a beautiful weekend of co-creation and weaving together the blueprint of our becoming. Also, welcome to all of those watching on the live stream, those listening later, and those who may be here in person, but in another part of the building. We are indeed a sanctuary beyond these four walls. Now, if you're the type that needs to wiggle or to move or to focus or listen in different ways, we have coloring pages, we have fidgets, we have an alternate worship space downstairs for a variety of needs. We also have large print orders of service, hearing devices, and even a hearing loop in that alternate worship space downstairs. Also, if you're new or feeling new and you want to get connected, please reach out to our Director of Member Relations, Kelly Green. Her email, kelly@uuccharlotte.org, is right here on the screen, and she will definitely get you connected. So this morning we have just a couple of announcements. Today at 11:30 in the Bernstein room downstairs, we'll have our monthly theme discussion. We'll discuss our new October theme, Blueprint, with questions such as, what is the blueprint for our lives, for our faith? A blueprint that is a roadmap, but it's also up to us to chart that way. So join us for that discussion. Also today we'll begin a new Share the Plate opportunity with our community partners, Charlotte for Choice. Shannon will join us next Sunday. She'll share a few words about this work, and we'll hear more about this work later on in today's service. Also next week during the service, we'll have our new member ceremony. So if you've recently joined, or you may be joining within the next week, reach out to Kelly Green and she'll get you more information on how to be involved. More information about these and all opportunities can be found in your order of service and also in our weekly e-newsletter, Currents. You can also look on the website. This month, we begin a new theme for exploration and learning. Whereas last month we started on our annual theme, Under Construction, this month we're weaving together and moving into the blueprint. And of course, this is not only a theme for worship, but also for religious education and all of congregational life, the way we are in our meetings, the way we are in the work that we do to build this congregation together. So welcome. Whether this is your first time or if this place lives so deeply in your bones, welcome. It surely is good to be together once more.
Come all the way in, friends. Come in from the week that may have wore you down. Come in whether you're walking tall or barely holding it together. Come in if you've been told you're too much or if you've been told you're not enough. Come in if the world has mistaken your difference for defect, your tenderness for weakness, your truth for trouble. Come in, trans and queer souls who've been told to tone it down because you are radiant by design. Come in, black and brown beloveds who have had to fight for breath. You are sacred by design. Come in, elders with stories etched in your bones, parents with Cheerios still in your hair. Skeptics with questions alive in your hearts. All of you, all that you are, is welcome by design. This is not a house of perfection, but of persistence. A sanctuary not for the spotless, but for the still trying. Because here, we don't pretend the fire never came. We testify that it did not get the last word. Resilience, you see, isn't about having it all together. It's about coming apart and still showing up. It's the laugh that sneaks out at the saddest funeral. It's the hand that finds yours when you didn't ask. It's the power outage that turns strangers into storytellers by candlelight, which, as we know, is holy fire. We are a people built to bend and not break, wired for wonder, made for mending, designed for renewal. The pulse of the planet beats in our very blood, whispering, rise again, begin again, build again. So friends, let's not come here and treat this as ordinary ground. This is holy ground because you are here. This is the cathedral that's under construction, made not of marble, but of mercy, laughter, courage, and song. So with that awareness and that gratitude and that reverence for the life to your left and your right, please rise in body or spirit to greet your neighbor in love.
Good morning. I'm Paula Gribble, Director of Lifespan Religious Education. My pronouns are she and her. Our elementary school kids, or elementary-aged kids this year, are doing a wonderful curriculum that is learning their UU values through Lego play. It's pretty fun. One of the cool things about Legos is that they are just these tiny, colorful bricks by themselves. But when you put them together, you can build all kinds of stuff. Buildings, animals, faces, chalices even. It's amazing because each piece is important to build the whole thing, but by themselves, they just seem like tiny, colorful bricks. I want to tell you a story, a wisdom tale, and you get to help me with it for a little bit. The story is about 3 bricklayers, like Lego builders, but much bigger pieces. At certain points in the story, I'll ask you to repeat something. Will you help me do that? The day was hot, the kind of hot that makes the dust shimmer in the air like dancing. The sun beat down on a half-built wall in a small village. The air smelled of fresh mortar, and the steady clink of trowels, the little shovels, echoed down the street. Along came a traveler, curious about the great building rising in the center of town. He saw 3 workers, each bent over bricks, and he wondered, what are they building? So each time the traveler approaches someone, we're all going to ask that question, what are you building? Can you say it now? What are you building? The traveler came to the first bricklayer. The worker's face was red, his shirt plastered with sweat, his back bent low. He slapped down some mortar, slammed a brick in place, groaned, and barely looked up when he asked. With a huff, he muttered, what does it look like? I'm laying bricks. Brick after brick after brick until my back is sore. Can you say that with me? I'm laying bricks. I'm laying bricks. The traveler nodded and moved on. The second worker looked different, shoulders straight, eyes sharp, every motion measured. He tapped each brick into place, stepping back to make sure it was straight. And the traveler asked, The worker smiled and said with pride, I'm building a wall, strong, steady, true. Can you say that with me? I'm building a wall. I'm building a wall. The traveler's eyes widened. This was more than bricks, but still, what was it all for? At last, the traveler came to the third worker, this one covered in dust, just like the others, but there was a light in her eyes. She set down her trowel, stood tall, and gazed upward, as if seeing something invisible, something still to come. And the traveler asked, what are you building? The worker's smile spread slow and sure. I'm building a cathedral. A cathedral is a kind of big church. She continued, one day, the sunlight will stream through tall windows of colored glass. Music will echo and lift hearts. Children will laugh here. Families will be comforted. People will gather to love, to grieve, to hope. My one brick may seem small, but I am part of something magnificent. Can you say, I'm building a cathedral? I'm building a cathedral. And here's the truth. The work was the same. The bricks were the same. What changed was the vision. Sometimes in life, we only see the chore, just laying bricks. Say, I'm laying bricks. Sometimes we see the project, just building a wall. I'm building a wall. But then other times, we can see the bigger vision, the cathedral of love, justice, and compassion. We are creating together. Everything changes when we see it this way. When you sing here, you're not just making noise, you're building joy. When you welcome a new person, you're not just being polite, you're building belonging. When you help someone who's hurting, you're not just being nice, you're building compassion. And even this one little piece matters. And so do you, and you, and you, and you. Together, we are not just laying bricks. Together, say it with me, we are building a cathedral. We are building a cathedral. At this time, the children and youth will go to their classes. We'll gather across the hall in Freeman Hall and meet with our teachers. We'll sing them out now.
It was Christmas Eve many years ago when, for whatever reason, I decided to build my then 3-year-old niece a dollhouse. Now, it was really important to me that I assemble it myself rather than buy one that was already made. So I went to one of those big chain craft stores and I found this huge wooden model that I could paint. So I purchased it and I bought this big box of supplies home. Oh, this'll take just a few hours, if that, I thought. This'll be a fun little project, no problem. Spoiler alert, I was wrong. See, I thought that there was going to be some sort of manual with step-by-step instructions, and this was before the IKEA assemble-it-yourself furniture craze, but those were the kind of directions that I thought I'd get. Nope, these were straight-up blueprints. Now, turns out what I had actually gotten wasn't just a regular dollhouse, it was a hobbyist dollhouse, one that the real serious doll makers make. And that was the only instruction that I got, just a blueprint of what the house should look like and a bunch of differently sized pieces of wood. And I'm no architect and I'm not that handy and I don't know how to read blueprints, but I was determined, so I got to work. Now, some things were more obvious than others, and some things less, but on the whole, nothing was really going according to plan. The thin pieces would break, the thicker pieces were too heavy for the wood glue, or the glue was too strong, and I'd end up with a little door stuck to my palm or something. But I was determined to make my niece this dollhouse that she neither needed nor asked for. So finally, many, many hours later, more than a few swear words, and with my hands covered in glue, it came time for me to complete the final grand step of the construction, affixing the whole front side of the house onto the rest of the structure. Now, this was going to be my moment when it all came together. When all of the work was worth it, I was going to step back and admire the fruits of my labor at long last. So I began affixing this large piece, which included the windows and the door, all of that, to the rest of the house, only to realize that I had built everything on that piece upside down. The door, the windows, the trim, all of it. And it was super obvious. I couldn't undo it. And at that point, all there was for me to do was to say, it is what it is, but with different choice words. Paint the thing and put it under the tree. Now, I would love to say that she saw it on Christmas morning and was just overcome with glee, that it was some kind of Christmas miracle, but honestly, I don't even remember her reaction. There's been a lot of Christmases since then, but I do remember that she made use of that dollhouse for many years. And after all, she was only 3 when I made it. She didn't know what it was supposed to look like. She only knew that it was hers and that her auntie Amanda had made it with love. So it became whatever she wanted it to be. And I also remember showing it to my mom first and how we laughed and laughed and laughed at just how bad it was. But the humor became a part of it too. Because through all the gritty determination, the misplaced and broken pieces, the blueprint that ended up ripped and torn, crumpled with glops of dry glue all over it, what kept me going wasn't the perfection at the end of the rainbow. The idea of that dollhouse being perfect was done the second that I opened that box. No, instead, it was my desire to make something, to create something for a person that I love. Something that soon wouldn't even be mine, something that would say, you are worth the work, you are worth the effort. Something that would be a manifestation of my own messy and imperfect love, a true gift of spirit. That was the point. That made it all worth it. Now, my niece is almost 17 years old now, and as I was writing this, I texted her to ask if she remembered that dollhouse and if they still had it, and she let me know that they do still have it in the attic. And I thought to myself, so it lives. A win's a win. So what we create here, it isn't just for us. We are the recipients of a living legacy. Flawed and beautiful and complicated and perfectly imperfect. And as we talked about just last week, creation does in fact get a little messy. We can search high and low for every instruction manual that there is, every step-by-step guide, and we still won't get it right. We open that box and we have no idea what we're doing, but when we know where we want to go and when we know who we're doing it for, it makes all the difference. It makes it worth it. At the heart of a blueprint is sacred imagination, the vision of what something could be, and the promise of the determination to bring it into existence despite all that can and will go wrong. And the difference between the blueprint and the final product? Life. We bring it to life. This place is more than a building. It's more than groups or teams or Sunday morning or bylaws. It is sacred vision brought into being by all the hands that have sculpted it, all the minds that have dreamt it, and all the hearts that have loved it into being. And it was given to each one of us to breathe life into once more. And we ourselves are products of the sacred imagination, each one of us with our complex stories of love and loss and becoming, each one of us with our own unique blueprint and our own unique design, what makes us come alive, what brings us back to life. So as we lay out the paper and grab the pencil and the rulers as we begin to design the vision that already lives in our hearts, may we always remember our why, who we're doing this for, where we have been, where we want to go, and where we are right now. And may we give ourselves to the permission to be just a little messy, to glue the door on upside down, if you will, to tinker and to dream and to create and to do it all for and with one another, breathing new life into each other again and again. May it be so.
In the year 2011, quietly, unexpectedly, my life went off the rails. From the outside, things looked steady enough. I had what anybody might call a settled life, a calling, a family, a home. I was in my 30s, minister of a congregation that seemed to be doing okay. Sunday mornings were full, the calendar was packed, and I'd learned to move through it all with the careful choreography of somebody who appears to have it together. But sometimes life has its own demolition plan. That spring, in late March, a tornado cut through Tuscaloosa. I went down with others to help. It's one thing, as you may know, to see disaster on television, and another, quite another, to stand right amidst it. The air smelled like pine and loose insulation. Whole neighborhoods lay unzipped. The front of one house, I remember, was gone, its rooms open to daylight, its beds and family photos exposed to the wind. Across the hillside, the earth itself had been peeled back like old carpet from a rotted floor. I remember staring at that wound in the land and feeling, without quite having the words for it, that it looked familiar. Because back home, something in me had already been tearing loose. It started small, little irritations, little arguments, then exhaustion, sharpness, shame, a job that wouldn't pause, a congregation that seemed to be watching me more closely than ever, whispers, complaints, minor but relentless. I felt brittle, overexposed, like I was living life in the round. Every morning I put on the same practiced smile, but inside things were coming apart. Whatever structure had held my inner life together was giving way, as if the front of the house of my life had been ripped off, every room visible, every weakness on display. What happens when the system you've built, your habits, your faith, your certainty, stops holding? When the winds pull the roof off and you're standing there in the open with nothing left to hide behind? That was the question I didn't know I was asking, standing there on that hill in Alabama, staring at the stripped earth. Because I didn't yet know what the forest knows after the fire, that resilience isn't something you work for and earn, it's something already written into the design. Maybe you've known a season in your own life like what I'm talking about, not with tornadoes or headlines, but perhaps something quieter, the kind of unraveling that doesn't make the evening news. Maybe it was the year the marriage began to sound like a foreign language, or when work, once a source of purpose, turned gray and heavy. Maybe it was a friendship that cracked, a body that betrayed you, or a country you thought you knew that began breaking your heart in public. Sometimes the wreckage comes all at once, sometimes it creeps like a leak in the roof, a splinter in the faith, a fatigue that no sleep will cure. And you do what humans do. You patch and you prop and pretend. You keep the calendar moving, you become fluent in the language of composure. Smiles, everyone. But beneath it all, something shifts. The structure starts to groan. Maybe you felt that when the floor just starts to give a little and you realize that what you've built your life upon may not hold forever. Could be you felt it on that long drive home in silence, or at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling, or in the mirror facing the tired stranger who looks something like you. We all reach that moment, I think, the one where what once sustained us stops working. When the old strategies of overwork, overthinking, over-explaining, anybody try those? Start to run out of steam when the very thing that kept us safe starts to trap us. And it's not personal. You can see it in the world around, in a democracy that's gotten frayed and fragile, and neighbors who no longer speak, in the daily litanies of fires and floods and grief, even in a community like this, when people give and give for so long that even care can seem a burden. And when you can sense the fatigue sometimes, especially after COVID, of those who've been holding it together, and the cautious hope, perhaps also of those just arriving, wondering if this place and these people might be a place to find steadiness again. We all live sooner or later, I think, through that season when the winds pull at the seams, when the life we've built feels like it might not stand, and in those moments, it's easy to believe that the breaking is the end of the story, that once the roof is gone, there's no shelter left. But what if that's not the end at all? What if the breaking is the beginning? What if collapse isn't failure, but instead invitation? Because the world, it turns out, does know how to begin again. And maybe, just maybe, so do we. I see it as one of the quiet miracles of creation that after the fire, the forest does not stay dead. Walk the charred hills a year later and you'll see what no scientist can promise. Life rising from the ash, the blackened earth softens, tiny shoots appear, green against gray, fragile and fierce. You know, there are seeds that only open in heat, sealed until the flame touches them. Only then can they release their life into the world. That pattern, burning and beginning again, is not confined only to the forest. It is written into the fabric of being itself. Across every landscape, from coral reef to prairie grass, from the scar on your skin to the marsh at the edge of the neighborhood, life mends. It doesn't deny loss, it doesn't erase damage, but it keeps finding its way. This, I believe, is not accident, but by design. Look closely and you'll see it everywhere, in the body's quiet repair after illness, in the heart's reopening after grief, in the way a couple relearns how to speak after silence. Adaptive capacity, the ability to bend but not break, is not a luxury of the strong, but a signature of life itself. Even decay and death serve the great regeneration. The fallen tree becomes the nurse log. The compost heap becomes the garden. Life does not forget how to live. When theologians of nature speak of God, this is what they mean, not some distant overseer, but the deep pulse of persistence in all that is, the sacred intelligence of systems that, though wounded, find their way back toward balance, the river carving its patient course through rock, the prairie that burns and then returns, the wetlands that absorb the flood, then sing again with bird song. To try the word on for size of God for that is not to deny tragedy, but to recognize that even in tragedy, there remain traces of order, rhythm, and renewal. This world isn't static, it's alive, leaning always toward restoration, and we, made of the same dust and water and breath, share in that pattern. You can feel it in your bones, the impulse to heal, to stand again and rise again after being knocked down. You can see it in a congregation that gathers after a hard season, tired and hopeful. You can hear it in the quiet voice that says, "Let's try that again." Resilience is not naive optimism. It is participation in life's enduring design. The conviction that while destruction is real, it is not the only force at work. For beneath every wound, in every field, every human heart runs a deeper law. Life adapts, life persists, life insists. The earth herself testifies we are resilient by design. Maybe for you, the fire has already come. The relationship that went quiet, the job that became a weight, the dream that didn't make it through the last few years after the pandemic. Or maybe it's just the slow, dull ache of carrying too much for too long. The question isn't whether the fires will come. They will. The question is, what will you do with what has been burned? The forest doesn't rebuild the same old trees. It starts again from what's left, from the seeds that were only open in flame. Maybe your renewal begins the same way, not by reconstructing what was, but by releasing what's now ready finally at long last to grow. When the prairie burns, it's not dying, it is making room, clearing out what no longer feeds the roots. Maybe your spirit, too, has been crowded by what once was good, but has now become overgrown. Obligations, resentments, habits of control. The earth teaches, burn back what has stopped nourishing you and let the roots breathe again. When the tree falls, the story's not over. The stump sends up shoots. The roots remember life. So tend your roots, your grounding practices, your values, your community. You don't have to rise all at once. The roots will hold you until the time is right and you can. There are seasons when the soul is a desert, dry, cracked. But even there, seeds wait. One drop of rain, one word of kindness, one small mercy, and suddenly the desert blooms. So keep your soil ready. Store your hope like a seed. The conditions for your blooming will come again. And when the floods rise, and they will, be the marsh. Don't fight the water, absorb it, let it move through you. That's how marshes survive, by yielding, and by yielding, enduring. Maybe resilience is less about resistance and more about surrender, less about standing tall and more about staying open. As I see it, this isn't self-help, but sacred alignment. To live like this, to burn back, to root down, to bloom again, is to align your small story with the great story of the world, the story of life insisting on itself again and again. It's not the triumph of the strong, but the wisdom of the living. Hear the earth's wisdom. Begin again. Begin with purpose. Root in what endures. Bend and don't break. Wait for the rain, and when it comes, bloom. Because the same pattern that mends the forest is at work in you. What is holy is not only what survives the fire, but what learns because of it, how again to rise. So, here we are, standing among the ashes and the green shoots of our age, in this country, in this community, perhaps in your life. The storms haven't passed, the winds still howl, the world we thought was settled perhaps is shifting underfoot. The old foundations of decency and democracy and neighborliness have cracked. In neighborhoods not far from here, families live in fear of a knock on the door at night. In the public square, cruelty has become casual. Truth bends beneath the weight of convenience. And it would be easy at a time like this to give in to exhaustion, to believe that the fires have burned for too long, that the floods have washed too much away. But this is not the first age of unmaking. And we are not the first people to rise. You remember the story of the 3 bricklayers, where the first one was just focused on one little brick, and the second one said, well, I'm building a wall, but the third looked up and said, I'm building a cathedral. That, friends, is the invitation before us this morning, because here in this place with these people, we're not just patching cracks, we are building a cathedral of compassion. Every act of courage, every word of kindness, every hand that lifts another, each one is a brick in something vast and holy. Yes, the work is hard. Yes, the work is long. And yes, the work is ours. This is not a time to retreat into despair. It is a time to remember who we are and whose we are. We are the forest after the fire, scarred but still growing. We are the prairie after the burn, open, renewing, and alive. We're the marsh after the flood, holding what others cannot, purifying and restoring. We're resilient by design. We do not build out of naivete. We build out of defiance. We do not gather because it is easy. We gather because it is necessary. We do not love because the world is safe. We love because the world is not. Let that love make you brave. Let that love make you bold. Let that love make you builders again. For this is the sacred work of our time, to stand where others have fallen, to speak where others are silenced, to hold fast where others have fled. The cathedrals we raise may not be of stone, but of sanctuary, of courage, of compassion, strong enough to face the fire. Yes, the world is burning, and the winds are rising, and the night feels long, but the same spirit that stirs in the soil also stirs within us. The same pulse that pushes through ash pushes through our weariness. The same design that renews the world can renew our will. We are not here by accident. We are here because life, against all odds, insists. Because love, against all reason, persists. Because hope, even now, resists. So take heart, fellow Unitarian Universalists. Keep building even when the mortar runs low. Keep lighting candles even when the wind blows them out. Keep choosing one another again and again and tenaciously again, because someday when the smoke clears, when the ground steadies, when our children ask what we were doing in this age of unraveling, we will be able to say with steady voices and calloused hands, we were not just laying bricks, we were building a cathedral, and by grace, it still stands.
Generosity lives at the center of our mission and vision, and it is through generosity that we live our values out loud. What we give allows us to sustain the work of this congregation within and beyond these four walls. When we gather each week, let it remind us of the spirit of generosity and gratitude, recognizing the blessing that it is to carry the work forward together. Each month, we share our plate with a community organization that is actively doing the work to build the beloved community. Our Share the Plate throughout the month of October is Charlotte for Choice. You may remember that we began our partnership with C4C last December. Charlotte for Choice is a grassroots 501c3 organization that advocates for reproductive rights and health care, including access to abortion services here in Charlotte. They believe that bodily autonomy is a fundamental human right and that reproductive health care in all of its forms should be available and affordable without stigma or shame. We'll be joined by C4C's executive director next week to learn a little bit more about the services that they provide and the ways for us to get involved. There are many ways to give to our shared offering. You can text to give at 73256. You can give directly online. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen, or you can give as the basket comes your way. All of what we do builds this community together, and all that we are is sustained by one another. And yes, it is the responsibility of a faith community to support the community to which it belongs. While the offering is collected, you are invited to come forward and light a candle honoring a milestone, concern, or celebration in your own life. Ushers, you may now come forward. As always, when we gather together, it is in the midst and the context of all of the ins and outs of our lives and the world around us. But we don't need to leave it all at the door. We bring it with us because we must, and we expand to make space for all that is our lives together. As always, if you find yourself in need of pastoral care or conversation, please reach out to our congregational care team or to me. Some joys and concerns this morning and within our congregation. Congratulations to Roger and Ronnie Coates on the birth of their grandchild. Sylvia was born to their daughter Jessica and her husband Ryan, and everyone is doing good. We send our care to Paul Mitchell as he recovers from surgery. He appreciates all of the well wishes. We also send our care to Larry Oliver, who is also recovering from surgery this week. And this past week, we gathered to celebrate the life of Bob Atwood. This was a beautiful time of remembering and honoring a life so well lived. Bob always held this community in such high regard. What a joy it was to surround his memory in blankets of love. This past week, beloveds of the Jewish faith and tradition observed the high holy day of Yom Kippur. This time of atonement invites us into a place of reflection, reconciliation, and forgiveness. In a world where so much is broken, may we find ways to create spaces of blessed repair. May we look within for repentance, and may we keep holding to one another as we travel this journey side by side. And also a word from our community partners, Carolina Migrant Network. I was contacted and informed on Friday that ICE activity is increasing throughout the country, higher levels of operations that have not yet made their way here to Charlotte, but when it does, we are on alert. Our commitment to our community partners stands. Our commitment to the immigration population in Charlotte stands. And where we are needed, we will arrive. And it also stands that ICE is not welcome in this building. ICE is not granted access into this space regardless of what the laws are. And I will stand by that if the time comes. So may we continue to do this work of justice and partnering in our community, following the lead of impacted communities and the leaders who've been doing this work for so long. And may we show up when we're needed. And hopefully it won't come to that, but if it does, we are here. Today, we light our candle of global concern with these words from Jane Goodall, who passed beyond the veil this week. Each one of us matters. Each one of us has a role to play, and each one of us makes a difference. Each one of us must take responsibility for our own lives, and above all, show respect and love for the living things around us, especially each other. Won't you please join me in a moment of silence for all the joys and concerns spoken aloud or in our hearts this morning? I now invite you into a time of presence and groundedness. Being in this moment, perhaps lowering your gaze or closing your eyes, I invite you into a time of prayer. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of what animates our lives, what draws us together, what connects us to that which is larger than each one of us and yet created by all of us. We call that Spirit into presence in this time. For so much that becomes our lives, for what we create, and then also what is given to us, the things beyond our control, the decisions made outside of ourselves, what we inherit, what we are given. Even when it is too heavy to carry, we know that we are not carrying it alone. We are resilient, blessedly, but that does not mean that we are in solitude. We are connected by the Spirit that weaves throughout time, that weaves throughout place, that weaves throughout space, that calls us into being, that calls us into remembering. For all those that came before us, that did their own weaving and their own creating with their own struggles. And for all those that are to come, who will benefit from our labor, we give thanks. Where this world is broken, may we find beauty, and where there isn't beauty, may we create it. May we hold fast to one another. May we not turn away from this world, but turn toward it. Commit to building it, and rebuilding, and rebuilding, and rebuilding again. So that one day the children of our children will remember us and how we did not turn away. May we hold this in our hearts as we move through our days and our weeks and our months. May we remember the community that is so beloved. May we hold to it, and may we hold to one another. May it always be so. Ashe, and blessed be. As always, our benedictions, our gratitude, so much gratitude to the choir this morning for your beautiful music, as always. Gratitude to our tech folks, our ushers, and our greeters. But the true deep gratitude for me comes from having Jake join us this morning. If you don't know, Jake was my minister when I became a Unitarian Universalist at 23 years old in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Jake is the first example I had of what a UU minister is. And a UU church was the first time I had gone to church in my whole life where I didn't leave feeling shame and guilt and fear. And it's because of the words that were spoken from that pulpit. You also might know that it was Jake who encouraged me to go into ministry when I was about to go into grad school. Instead, he offered to fly me out to California to visit Star King School for the Ministry. And it is because of him that I am here. So it is a full circle moment to be leading worship together today. These small acts of kindness have more of an impact than we could know. When we believe in the people around us, when we draw together and create community, when we share a word of gratitude, or we pay attention to the spark in one another, we have no idea what leads down the road and whose lives we are impacting and whose lives we are changing. And I was a spunky 23-year-old, and I don't think I was that easy to deal with back in the day. But it was after a board meeting that I was in that he sent me an email saying, "I see a minister in you." And that was the spark that carried me to this very place. So may we pay attention to each other's sparks. May we turn towards each other and create community and create networks, because you have no idea the impact that can have on a life. Won't you please join me rising in by your spirit for our closing hymn? Come and go with me.
Friends, our service has now ended. Please join me in reading the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.